March is Women's History Month. And what we like to do is highlight several women who have been of great influence.
As we were thinking about this topic and going through some issues in considering women and their contributions to business, one of the things that I realized is nowadays many women are really leveraging their different skills and talents and abilities in trying to build a business to their liking. And
Yes.
so a couple of the people that I thought about, although are not local or small businesses, but they're just examples to me of how you can take an idea that you have or how you can take a desire that you have and make it into a sustaining business. So the three people that we're going to talk about probably primarily today, Rihanna. We all know Rihanna from music, but we also have come to know her from her Fenty Beauty and Fenty Savage lines, Supa Cent, and she has the beauty brand called the Crayon Case, inspired by children's crayons and some of the little schoolhouse items that we would use. And last but definitely not least is Issa Rae. Issa Rae, if most of you would probably know her from her YouTube series, The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl. And she built up that YouTube series to the point where she was able to pivot into television, where she shifted into her television series, the HBO drama Insecure, or the HBO dramedy Insecure. So these are just three examples of women who are really, stepping into their own and doing things a little bit differently. But also want to highlight some of the social media personalities that we see now, where they're taking things like waist trainers, they're taking things like body sculpting, hair, nails, and really capitalizing on the world of social media in trying to say, here is my talent, and letting their talent speak through their social media channels. So those are just some examples that I really want to highlight. What do you think about that, Lisa?
I love it. I think it's great. Rihanna has really stepped into her own as an entrepreneur. Like you said, first in music, now with her fashions and her makeup, and so she's showing great examples of entrepreneurship for women. She's a great one. Of course, Issa Rae. Now the last person you mentioned, I'm not that familiar with.
So I so wish we could pull some things up, but you can find her on social media. I believe her name usually is listed as Supa Cent, or you can just look up the Crayon Case. Her crayon line is based on kind of like the box of crayons that we pretty much would know from childhood or from schoolhouse, and she basically has very vivid crayon color type colors for eyeshadows and other types of makeup items. And her whole makeup line, if you look at it, is kind of like opening a crayon box and then looking at all kinds of schoolhouse items like the little pencil pack, and anything that you can think of that is more like schoolhouse crayon bag, school supplies type things, is what you would really see from her.
Okay.
But she was a social media personality, to my understanding, as well. And so, with her doing her viral social media videos and then tuning into her makeup line, she actually made $1 million in 90 minutes on a particular day. I don't remember if it was like I think it was either a Black Friday or Cyber Monday, but she made like $1 million on one day in particular. Wow. So she's known for that. And I was looking at an article from Essence, and it says this Black women-owned cosmetics brand made $1 million in 90 minutes. And basically, you could see that she leveraged her social media standing to really pull people into purchasing her cosmetics line. And it's my understanding that she was like a waitress at the time. She was living in a small apartment. She was just, doing her thing, and she used to do a lot of really funny social media videos. So she built up a following. But then she basically took that following and matched it up with her desires to do this makeup company, and it was on from there.
Wow. What talent. So she leveraged her talent in a way to maximize the financial benefits for herself. I don't think it
Absolutely.
gets any better than that.
No, and you know, and I'm going to put the links to these articles in the description of this so that you can you know, read it if you're interested. But you know, it just goes to show me, when I think of women in history, you know, we've always found ways to make things happen. We've
Yes.
always been relied upon to be strong as Black women, relied upon to be creative, to be compassionate, to be all of these things. So we're always juggling. So it's looking at this woman who, you know, was working, you know, working class person, and she found an avenue for herself that is really, really different than you would expect, right? Because if you think of somebody who's just a working class person, most
Mm-hmm.
times we don't equate that with billionaire or millionaire down the line.
Right.
But
Right.
with the age that we're in right now in business, technology is all things. And there's so many different opportunities and experiences that you can take advantage of if you really just tap in.
Yeah.
Even with the Issa Rae story, in looking back, you know, I remember her YouTube series from years ago. This was like the early, I think it was like the early 2000s. And, you know, when you think about it, she took a YouTube impression, right? She took her YouTube series seriously and she leaned all the way into it. And that was, you know, early 2010s. And now in the 2020s, she's on the top of the charts. Like she posted a video not too long ago, is like, this is the season for you to dislike me because I have plenty of things for you to dislike me about. And so, you know, I think when you look at it, it's leaning in. And I mean leaning all the way in, not thinking about it as a maybe, but just saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to lean all in. I'm going to put all my energies into it. But I know I have to put in the time because remember, we talked about delusions of grandeur in one of our
Yes.
other videos, right?
Yes. Yes.
Many times people see an Issa Rae or a Rihanna, or they see a Supa Cent or the Crayon Case Company and think that this was an overnight success. Because for them, it is an overnight success. It's the first time they're seeing this person, or they're seeing some, you know, fantastical view of the end result.
Yes.
But that's just the end result. You don't know how many years, months, hours of time went into them building this colossal business into what it is right now, into an empire.
Right. So Issa Rae, she wrote the book. She wrote a book, right?
She had a YouTube series called The Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl.
And it was also a book.
I don't know that.
I think it was. I think it was a book also. So I can't research that right now, but I recall that became a book, if I'm not mistaken, and somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure. But then there was the HBO series, right? Insecure.
Right.
And now she's doing more acting and more producing.
Yeah, she's done some films. I know that there was a film that I saw her in. I don't remember the name of the film, but she was it was like a love story. I don't know if it was something about a photograph or as like a date or something, but I've seen her in quite a bit of things in the recent years. So, you know, again, leveraging her role behind the camera in a sense and in front of the camera, and then now having all of these other projects as a spinoff. And the Insecure series, I want to say that was on TV for quite a few years. It just ended recently.
Yes, and it was awesome. I mean, you talk about just realism and just keeping it real. This sister, she connected with so many people because she shared a lot in that series about what really goes on behind the scenes in relationships. It was just so much you can relate to.
Right, right. So, you know, in thinking about Women's History Month, you know, for me, looking at how far women have come into taking hold of their careers and not just being seen as somebody in the home, you know, there's nothing wrong with being in the home, but I see people who are even in the home, like housewives, who are starting these businesses from home, you know, using the technology to create something that allows them to, you know, still have a hold of their destiny, still have a hold of what it is that they want to accomplish, and doing things like beauty lines, you know, clothing lines, things with, different kinds of social media companies and starting empowerment organizations. We have our very own Suzette Speaks here on YouTube.
Yes.
She has been on the scene for quite some time, speaking not only as an attorney, but as, basically a TV personality.
Yes.
And, taking that and now shifting a bit into leaning into the YouTube space. I see her doing some really, really great things. So shout out to Suzette Speaks.
Yes, we're so proud of Suzette. We're so proud of her. Keep doing your thing, sis. You're doing it.
Now, in talking about Rihanna, Rihanna,
Rihanna.
her name is supposed to be pronounced. I was reading the story that she is now worth 1.7 billion, not million now.
Wait, is that what it be?
Would it be 1.7 billion, according to Ford estimates, making her the wealthiest female musician in the world and second only to Oprah Winfrey as the richest female entertainer. Now, here's the thing, not her music. Her music did not make her this wealth. It was actually her Fenty beauty.
Yes.
So I don't know if you remember, a number of years ago, Rihanna started this beauty line called Fenty Beauty. And basically, the big push back then was developing a line that had all of the shades. Because as we all know, as Black women, many times we used to have a hard time finding our shade. And I would say until recent years, I would say in the last decade, it was non-existent, right? You were trying to find shades. They would make the shades way too dark or they wouldn't make them at all.
Right.
Or make them way too light and you'd have to be doing mixing. So for many years, I would have to mix shades to get my proper shade. So with Rihanna, she paired up with a company. So she owns 50% of this Fenty Beauty. And she paired up with them in order to do this beauty line where the shades were just, every shade that you can think of.
There's probably easily maybe 20 different shades. I'm not sure, but it's a large number of shades, like the most I've ever seen in any makeup collection.
Right. And so she built her fortune, which is an estimated 1.4 billion, which comes from the value of Fenty Beauty, for which she owns 50%. And then the rest lies in her stake in this company called Savage X Fenty, which is worth an estimated $270 million. Can you imagine? She took music as her platform. She built up her social media. And then she leveraged herself into other realms to say, you know what, I'm diversifying my portfolio of wealth.
Love it.
That is a beautiful example for all of us as women entrepreneurs who are stepping into whatever realms we are, that you don't have to make your millions or billions, for that matter, from one area.
Right.
You can tap into different areas and pull together a portfolio of business that allows you to really, really be successful.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. We create lanes as entrepreneurs. We don't necessarily have to stay in one lane. And that's the beauty. Our sister Rihanna just showed us that with all of her diversification in business. So hats off to all women, and especially to all women entrepreneurs during Women's History Month. What a great time to acknowledge the contribution of women.
And something I wanted to talk about, because when I used to think about Women's History Month growing up, I don't really think I visualized myself fitting into that, right? Like people that look like me fitting into this topic of Women's History Month, because for many years growing up, we only saw images of white women.
Yeah.
Again, nothing against white women, but it's an issue of representation matters. And with us now moving into the 2022s, right? We're now in an age.
Yes.
I'm really, really starting to step into understanding the role of not only Black history in our lives and the importance of us showing how much representation there is, but also really highlighting us specifically as Black women. There's nothing wrong with really tuning into us.
Yes.
Giving us our flowers and saying, all right, it's Women's History Month, but Black women are a great, great part of contributions in women's history, contributions in growth of women in industry and business and technology. I mean, don't we have a young lady that's going to be the first Black woman that they're trying to put on the moon? I
Yes.
saw a story about that recently.
Yes.
We're seeing women like the first Black woman that Biden just
Nominated for the Supreme Court Justice. That's Ketanji Jackson Brown, I believe. Yes.
So, I mean, just look at the beauty of where women's history is laying some more foundation for us as Black women to see us represented in so many different realms. I think
Absolutely.
thing for us.
And we don't even want to go back to the beginning of America. We won't go back that far, but we were there too. So yes, let's keep it real.
Well, we were caring for children that were in our own and providing all kinds of service and
all kinds, yes.
Workforce when, our Black men were taken out, of the homes in that sense. So I just think there's so much to be appreciative of in women's history.
Me too.
Black women's history. And, I can't stress enough that, this platform, LearnBiz the Podcast, we focus on Black entrepreneurs and we focus on providing education through other individuals who are entrepreneurs, who can share their entrepreneurial journey, who can share their highs, their lows, and give you some gems to really use as your foundation so that you can have some better experiences in business and really give you a little bit of a leg up, right? To start at a better foundation than many of us did. And that's something I think is great. So
I love it.
Encourage you all to, click on some of our other videos and take a look at our channel, support our channel. Go ahead and subscribe, like our videos. We have many more pieces of content to come. And we're hoping to really branch out and do some more great things. But Lisa,
absolutely,
we got something to share with the folks. We have something coming up. We're not going to give you dates and times just yet, but we have some things in the works. What do you want to share with us?
We have a May event, so stay tuned for our annual Entrepreneur Mindset Summit. We're going to have some dynamic speakers, and it's going to cater to all entrepreneurs, no matter which level of business you are in. You are going to be blessed by the information that you will receive. So stay tuned for that. We'll be putting out more information in the weeks to come about the annual Entrepreneur Mindset Summit. How about that?
Absolutely love it. So, click the notification bell so that you'll, know when we have videos coming up. You'll typically see us on Tuesdays and on occasions on Fridays, but we definitely look forward to sharing more content with you and hope you enjoyed this Black Women Entrepreneurs, a Women's History Month special.
I love it. I feel more empowered, even more so, just by highlighting the successes of Black women entrepreneurs.
So we'll tune in a little bit throughout this month and maybe come to you with a couple of other stories and maybe see how this Supreme Court nomination plays out. We might have.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We definitely will be watching that one. Definitely.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.